Hey guys, it's Tom from Eventide here. We're at the Winter NAMM 2017 show and we're showing off our new plugin, Fission. Fission is the first structural effects plugin that we're coming out with. And so what structural effects is we're separating transient and tonal signal content of an audio signal. In the past, people have done this with transient shapers and dynamics processors, using envelope followers and such. We actually have a new patent pending way of separating these transient and tonal components into completely separate audio streams and then applying effects to each stream and combining them back together. So this plugin is really cool because you can do a lot of new and interesting sound design work with the plugin, and you can also do some really cool utilitarian stuff, retuning drums, taking the attacks out of instruments, make them sound bowed. Even you can do certain things like minimizing attacks and, accentuating attacks in a performance if the performance is kind of muddled into roomy or boomy. So I'm going to go ahead and just get into it here. I have a piano sample running. So what's interesting about this split is it's completely complementary. So we're looking through the signal to try and identify portions of it as tonal or stable. And once we do that, we say, okay, this portion of the signal is tonal. And once we've gone through that process, everything else is going to be transient. So right now I'm running this effect, but you can't tell because there's no effects running. So the split is completely complementary. You don't hear anything. But what happens here, so this is a structural split section. It's the main section of the plugin. And you can see this waveform viewer. We have transient in blue, tonal in green, and the original waveform is gray behind it. So if we go ahead and select the source type here to piano/synth, this is like a coarse tuning for the algorithm. And the focus control here actually selects how the algorithm biases itself towards selecting a bit of the audio as transient or tonal. So you can see if I go all the way up to transient, it says, okay, everything in this signal is transient, and vice versa. If I go to tonal, everything is now tonal. And so here we have smoothing and transdecay, which basically are controls for setting how fast a piece of the signal can go from being identified as transient to tonal and tonal to transient, which is important for minimizing artifacts. So one of the cool things we can do on this piano is say we just want to take all the attacks of it, make attacks out of it, and make it sound like a bowed instrument. We go ahead and solo the tonal channel here, and as we turn up transient decay, you'll notice that now we're hearing a bowing sound, kind of an auto swell type thing, because there's no transients left in the signal. So another cool example we can do is on a snare drum. We can actually retune this drum or take some of the body out of it without affecting the hit and the sizzle of the snare drum at all. So go ahead and select pitch here. You'll notice that we have the snare drum here, and let's say we want to pitch it down a little bit. We go down to minor third, whatever interval you want here, and then you'll notice that actually the hit of the drum isn't changing, but the body is changing in pitch. So if I were to do this on the entire drum sound, you'll notice that the attack becomes mushy and it's not as defined. But if we only do that on the tonal, resonant part of the snare drum, we get this cool, you can shift it without actually affecting the snap of the drum. Of course, it's a multi-effects plugin, so we have a whole range of effects you can choose from here, and you can get some pretty wild sounds out of it. We're hoping to have this plugin available at the end of February, 4 to 6 weeks about, and it should be available for estimating $199, likely with intro pricing. So stay tuned on our site, and we have a 30-day demo on the plugin as well, if you want to check it out. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.